Beckman from Central Valley Ag is our corn and soybean market analyst this week. The party starts at 11 a.m. Central Monday morning for those who follow the two commodities. That's when the USDA will release its reports on quarterly grain stocks and planted acreage. At the end of March, the agency projected U.S. farmers would plant nearly 91.7 million acres of corn and a never-before-seen 81.5 million acres of soybeans. It also estimated corn stocks at about 7 billion bushels and soybean stocks at 992 million bushels. The crop that's in the ground now is in remarkable shape according to the USDA's latest crop conditions report. It's markedly better than last year's, even considering recent weather problems. Parts of Minnesota and Iowa received 8 inches of rain last week, and parts of northeast Nebraska caught showers totaling as much as 1 foot. Yet, even after that heavy precipitation, high winds, and hail, the National Agricultural Statistics Service said both Nebraska's corn and soybean crops improved in condition ratings from last week. We talked with Luke Thursday morning to look at these factors in play leading up to Monday's reports. Compared to normal, what does the current crop of corn and soybeans look like across the U.S.?
You know, nationally, Jeff, we've really seen things off to a banner start. A lot of that certainly seems like it's pushed to the eastern corn belt. Problems in the northern belt in the Minnesota and Dakota areas. Nebraska obviously had the problems in early June, but Monday's report saw Nebraska's ratings up a couple of points, seeing big drops in Minnesota with all the moisture they've had. Overall, though, you're certainly hearing a lot of analysts, the Chicago crowd to the east, talking about how things look really great out there.
You have a lot of locations throughout northeast Nebraska. That's one of the harder hit areas of the state. Do you have a sense of what the crop looks like in that region?
Well, Jeff, I mean, it's no doubt those June 3rd storms certainly took some acres out of production, knocked them back for producers who wanted to replant. Stuff that was maybe not affected, it does look good. Color and growth is coming around. You're probably going to run into some nitrogen issues in the corn with all the rain we've had. Some lighter soil certainly moving some of that in through the root zone. Severe enough to affect overall production of either corn or beans? Nebraska producers would like to think so, but in the grand scheme of things, probably not. Beneficial moisture in that northeast portion east of Highway 81, you know, those producers certainly liking the moisture on crops that were not affected. So probably going to see some good production there to offset maybe some losses we've seen from hail. First in Nebraska, will there be a shift or a significant shift from corn to more bean acres because of what we've been seeing? Well, you certainly could see that, Jeff, but if we're talking about the reports on Monday, I don't think we'll see that. Now, those reports are going to report on late May and early June survey time period, and really that's when those storms were kind of coming through. So you're probably not going to see that. You're not going to see that reflected in Monday's numbers, I don't think. Harvested acres is probably where those hailed acres probably show up, and that's going to happen later this fall when the USDA adjusts that. How about across the country? Do you expect to see more bean acres come out Monday when the USDA releases its planted acreage report? I do think so, Jeff, and really we go back to prevent plant a year ago, and really there were so many acres in that pot, and when you would add up key principal acres here in March when the USDA gave us those numbers, certainly seemed like we were missing something. So soybean production may be a touch higher, looking for a number around 82 million. Look for corn maybe just a shade higher as well, closer to 92. Both a little bit higher then? I would think so. The stocks number, soybeans first, that's one that everybody really seems to look at. Based on what you're seeing from crush and export numbers, what could we see for a stocks number? Well, I mean, crush and exports really haven't slowed down this year. As you know, they really needed to, but we just haven't seen export cancellations like maybe we thought. So really from a stock standpoint, it'd be great to see something north of 380 million bushels. The range of estimates is very wide. You're talking 100 million bushels. So expect a fun day Monday, but we do need to see that number probably 380 or north of there. And Jeff, they're probably going to use that number to back into a supply revision from last harvest. We just need to have more beans around, and the cash market's been telling us this summer that maybe beans aren't as tight as we thought. Do you have a thought on what corn might be in stocks? Stocks numbers estimates are going to be, you know, maybe 1 billion bushels higher than a year ago is kind of where the average is falling in. So 3.7 billion compared to 2.7 a year ago. So feels pretty adequate on the corn side. Okay, your gut feeling on overall whether this will be friendly, neutral, or bearish in both corn and beans on Monday? You know, from an acreage standpoint, everyone's kind of leaning towards more acres. Trade certainly feels that way. When we talk about stocks, corn, We know there's a lot out there. We've known that for a while. Beans is going to be the volatile one in terms of stocks. But look for higher acres on corn and beans. Stocks levels on beans is anybody's guess. Corn probably right in around that average level.
Let's talk about 2015 production, and 2015 numbers will probably get some steam or maybe a little weight after we see Mondays. But do you have targets for sale first on corn?
You know, corn, a month ago when we were kind of up against that 5 level, we were talking to producers about, hey, let's put a floor under some of this stuff. Give us a good start for next year. We've retreated since then, so it doesn't feel like a place we want to do a lot of sales just with the time horizon that we have left to deal with. But if we could see a retracement on these charts, we'd be interested in that 475 up to 5 area on a floor idea for corn.
And soybeans?
Soybeans did creep north of 12 here. They've been up here, with beans climbing and bouncing a little bit here the last week or so. So north of 12 does feel like a good spot on beans, just with the potential for a good crop in the acres we have this year, and then South America is going to get their shot again come this fall.
And finally, Luke, basis in your area, how strong is it now, and where do you expect it to go?
Well, basis it's an interesting conversation, Jeff. It's held on a lot longer than we thought it would. A lot of corn out there, and with the board dropping in corn, sales have been very, very light. So really expect that there's corn around, and it is going to come. So we're maybe expecting a pre-harvest. Before harvest, basis feels like it could get sloppy late this summer.